Hey, what's going on, guys? Kotobukiya's new Megalomaria series is here, and we've got the first one out in the line, the Principal. It looks awesome. Really cool box art here on the front, too, by the way. We'll take a closer look at that, as well as the kit, of course, in today's video. Let's go ahead and get right into the new Megalomaria series. All right, so like I said, some really cool box art here. We've got the new Megalomaria logo there at the top, and then just the illustration of the unit here. The naming and credits down there. You can see this is non-scale, but just to give you guys a nice close-up look at the illustration of the Principal here. That looks really, really cool there on the front. On the ends of the box, just going to be the same thing there. Let's see. Going around to this side, we've got a few different action poses here of the character. So I guess it is a character. Okay, so we can say that for the character here in a few different poses. One of the main things with this line is just the extreme articulation that we have in here. Also the hard points and options. So we have a number of different hard points on there, of course. And triple jointed wrist joint there, so that's pretty cool as well. There it is, holding some MSG option weapons. Here's a QR code to the official website. And on the back, some more about the customization compatibility here, in particular with the Sosai Shoujo Teien kits, as if I remember correctly from the kind of background story for this is that one of the characters from the Sosai Shoujo Teien line is an actress which plays one of the characters in this Megalomaria, which is a TV show that exists in that universe, if I remember correctly. Something along those lines, how Kotobukiya is kind of tying all their different lines together in that way. There you can see compatibility with the Sosai Shoujo Teien kits as far as the hair parts and face parts go. The range of motion, as I said, which is something that's going to be quite an extreme point of these kits. And then on here, a really cool connection. Again, just talking about how the series are connected. So this does also give you a nice size comparison between the different lines, showing from Frame Arms to Frame Arms Girl, Arcanadia, Megami Device, Sosai Shoujo Teien, Hexagear, and now Megalomaria right there as well. So that's pretty cool. Taking a look at the other side of the box here is going to be a look at our face options, which is pretty much just the same face. It just has the option for having the eyes looking like they're looking off to the side there. I guess you can make it like that. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but we'll see once we take a look at the kit. And the MSRP for this one coming in at 4,800 yen, so not too bad at all. Let's go ahead and get the box open up. This is once again a drawer style box. And inside here, we'll take a look at the runners in just a moment. So although there's going to be a lot of parts in the body for the, like I said, extreme articulation of it, it's not exactly going to come with a whole lot of accessories, I don't think. So it's going to be kind of bare bones in that sense. But obviously, when it comes to these kits, you know, there's a lot of different customization that you can do with the MSG line in particular. So here on the front of the instruction manual, which again, like we saw with the Buster Doll Gunner kit, they're doing the same thing with this one, where it's a much longer instruction manual where it really fits the full length of the box there, interestingly enough. It's really maximizing the instruction manual that you get here, which is pretty cool. So you get a really nice big image there on the front. On the back side is going to be our parts list here, which is also in full color. Interesting. The instruction manual is actually kind of like a couple of different parts here. So the color part is just that outside pages, and then you have another example of some photos of the painted build front and back here, the color guide down there at the bottom, and then some more customized options over here showing how you can mix and match some of the different parts together, and about the hardpoint system and the compatibility, everything there. This separate part, which is just all in black and white here, is just a fold out construction manual here. So all of our construction is going to be covered in this, which should all be, again, pretty straightforward, but I think that's about it. But let's go ahead and get into the runners here, starting off with a polycap runner, PC, in a kind of dark brownish gray. And then also in dark brownish gray is going to be our two runners of hand parts here. So it looks like we've got kind of everything from holding hands, flat karate hands, open expressive hands, trigger finger holding hands, more open expressive hands here, as well as looks like other different style weapon holding hands. So a lot of different hand options we've got with this one. Runners A and B are going to be in this light beige, kind of very light tan kind of color here, off-white, sort of cream color, whatever you want to call it. There's our two first runners there. Runner C, like the polycaps, is in a dark, slightly brownish gray color here. It looks like sort of slightly metallic. I think that's just kind of the way the light's hitting it, but it does look really nice, the light hitting the details like that in that way. Runner D, we've got two of in this very nice, very bright orange color here. Runners E and F are going to be some more joint parts here in that dark gray color. Runner G, a couple more parts here in that light tan. And then runner I is going to be a few more parts here in light tan again. Here we have our weapon piece, which is just kind of that dagger, some face parts on there. And then lastly, runner J here is going to be a few parts in clear orange, and that's it for all the runners. Alright guys, now here is the kit all built up, and I have to say, wow, incredible. This kit is amazing, fresh off the heels of the unveiling of the new Megami Device Buster Doll line, which if you guys saw my review of that kit, I ranted and raved about how great that kit was, how much of an improvement that was to the Megami Device line. This not being a part of the Megami Device line, it's something a little bit different, but just the overall improvements and just all the construction and all the engineering that goes into this kit just for the articulation, especially when they were not joking about how much articulation they packed into this kit. It's pretty incredible, so we'll get into all that here in just a moment. Obviously not much in terms of the accessories, but let's take a quick look at those first. So first off, as you can see, the kit can stand on its own, even though we have these really teeny tiny feet, and the kit is really quite tall, so it's going to be quite top heavy. You can get it to stand without any issue. That said, just due to the fact that Frame Arms Girls come with bases, Megami Device come with bases, even the new Megami Device Buster Doll come with a brand new version of the Megami Device base, it is a little bit disappointing that this kit did not come with a base, and that's going to be one of the very few things that I could say negative about this kit at all, is some of the things that it does not come with, and one of those would just be the fact that it didn't come with a display base. That certainly would have been nice, even if it's just a simple one, like it's like a 3-4 parts for the Megami Device base. It's a really super simple one. If they would have just had a kind of version of that for this kit, I would have appreciated that. But let's talk about what else we have in here. You'll also notice that I did do some panel lining. I just used a brown panel line marker here just to bring out some of the details, just so that you guys could see some of the details in and around on this kit. I don't always do that, but for this one I just felt so inclined to do that for you guys. But for the face, we've got our optional face here that has moving eyes. So this one is just fixed, the eyes don't move, it's just a kind of clear orange part in there. And even with this face, it's going to be really hard to see the eyes there, but you could certainly either panel line or paint those in order to make the eyes more visible. You can see there's kind of like a molded circular detail in there. And in order to move these, it's kind of ingenious here. We're going to take our one and only single weapon accessory that we have included, which is just this kind of dagger here, and you actually use the end of this, which is shaped like a little plus sign there, and that's what you're actually going to use here on the back side of the eyes, which do look a little bit creepy, I will admit. You're going to use that, and then you can use that to turn the eye into wherever angle that you want. So for example, if you want it kind of looking off to the side, we can turn both of the eyes so that the eyes are, and you have to try to like line them up as best you can so that they look like they're kind of off to the side. But again, without paint, it's kind of really hard to tell. So probably just won't be using that for the time being. But yeah, to go with the dagger, we have an attachment piece for being able to plug this onto the kit, which isn't very fancy by any means. It's just this kind of square block with a hole in it that you can plug that into. And honestly, it doesn't even fit like very tightly in there. It's kind of loose. I feel like that's just kind of gonna fall out. But if we go around here onto the back, you'll notice, hey, where's the hard point to plug this onto? So that's another option part that we have. Right here, the lowermost part of the orange here at the back, you can swap for this piece, which has a hard point in it. This is something that you'll also need to use for plugging this onto a display base, a Kotobukiya flying display base. So once you swap that orange piece, you can plug this into the back right there if you want to. Another optional piece is here on the side of the thigh. You can see this kind of like hook attachment point there sticking out on the side. If you just omit that entirely, that will give you a hard point right here on the side of the thigh. As you can see, you also have one on the side of the lower leg right there, and it's also hexagonal shaped. But I feel like this, while it doesn't serve any purpose for this particular version of the kit, I feel like later versions of the kit will take advantage of this, and there'll be kind of a added piece of armor or something that you can slot onto the side of the thigh there, I feel like. But if you didn't want that detail sticking out, you have just this plain piece right here that doesn't have that hook detail there on the side. I just went for this one just because that's what it shows on the box art, so that's what I'm going to go with. But you can have that just plain and flat if you want to. Another option piece is going to be for around here on the back side. You have an option for having this as one single part rather than as it is here with two separate pieces which will move independently like this. So not really sure why you would want to give up that articulation at the hip section by having this just as a single piece, but it does have like that kind of added detail there in the center, so if you prefer, you can use that one instead. And then here at the wrist, this is a new part of the articulation, is the triple wrist joint. So you have basically between the connection of the hand, the forearm, and then this part here going out to the side, triple wrist joint. So it moves there, and then this part also moves independently like that. But if you did want to have just a normal single joint, you can swap that part off and have just this part on here, and then just plug your hand onto there like normal, and it's just a single jointed wrist. But that's a little bit boring in comparison to the new triple jointed wrist that we have here for the hand, which is pretty cool looking. So as far as our hand option parts, you have this one kind of open expressive hand there like that. You also have this kind of closed, it's like a half open, just kind of resting hand there. We also have holding hands for either a square sized handle or a circular handle. So depending on what kind of weapon or accessory you want to hold, you have a different option holding hands for those. And then we also have extended trigger finger holding hands here, or pointing hands depending on how you want to use that, but that's just holding hands with the trigger finger extended. And then alternate open hands here like this, which are going to be a little bit different from the one which I've got there on the kit at the moment. You can see the one is kind of more spread out and more expressive. This one's just sort of like an open resting hand here like that basically. So let's talk about the articulation, which is incredible, which is the main focus of this kit, I feel like. So starting off here in the head, there's multiple joints here in the neck, and that'll give you full range of movement side to side, forward and back. And then the neck is on a ball joint there at the base of the head. Here at the back side of the hair, kind of hair quote unquote anyway, of this part will also move up and down there like that. The hair and face parts here are going to be compatible with all of your Sosai Shoujo Teien stuff, which we will take a look at here in just a moment. But just to pop this off if I can, just to show you guys, you're just going to remove the front and back halves of the hair like that, and then you can swap the face option parts. And then here in the shoulder, that ball joint will swing forward and back, side to side, but then the whole kind of shoulder assembly there of the side of the torso will kind of move when you bring the arm to the front. You can see this whole section will extend out a little bit there like that as well. You have a hard point here on the side of the arm. This part can be omitted if you so choose, but we have a pretty standard articulation here for the arm for the most part. We have a rotation there, a nice full bend at the elbow, which is a really full bend there, and then the triple joint at the wrist, which I mentioned about, which will allow each of these parts to move independently like that, which is pretty cool. Here in the midsection, we have a really far extending ab crunch all the way to the front there like that, and it is going to come apart here at the back, creating some gaps there, but due to this being a just kind of robot body and not meant to look like a natural body, the gaps don't look so unnatural here on this, so that will extend really far forward and back all the way to there, side to side, not quite as much, but what is a pretty like normal amount, I feel like. But then of course we can also twist and turn the body there like that. The hip section, the hips will not only be able to extend up and down, but as I was showing you a moment ago, that will also swing forward and back here like this. This little part here, this little flap at the front, can also move up and down. You have a hard point right there at the center of the midsection. You can bring the legs all the way out to the side, all the way up to the front, all the way up totally vertical like that. Here at the thigh, this rotation there at the top, down here at the knee, full double joint at the knee there as well. This piece of knee armor will also move independently, so it doesn't move together when you bend the knee. It just kind of, you can just move it manually to wherever you want. Down here at the ankle, it's going to rotate side to side, also forward and back. And then you can just rotate that, also rotate the angle here side to side as well. Underneath the feet, you got some nice detail up underneath here as well. And while it all seems kind of pretty standard as far as the articulation goes, when you see it in action is when you'll really be able to tell. So let's go ahead and take a look at some poses here. So in checking out some poses here, I think you guys will see exactly what I mean about the articulation of this kit just being absolutely incredible. And it's really interesting to think about where this might lead in the future. And this is only the first of this particular line, the Megalomaria line. And we've got a few more kits on the way, and I'm sure more after that. So just as far as this line goes, it'll be very interesting to follow as we have the future releases coming out. Actually, the second one is actually just out, so we'll be taking a look at that one pretty soon. But aside from just only in this line, it'll be interesting to see how Kotobukiya implements some of the technology kind of experimented with in this kit, and I think very successfully so, and then implements some of that technology into other series later on, how we might see that used in kind of future sublines or just kind of even the main line of the Megami device kits later, which seem to be kind of like the main point of focus for Kotobukiya's Musume and Mecha Musume kits. Between that and the Sosai Shoujo Teien line, I think are kind of the two main lines that Kotobukiya has really focused the most on, it seems like. And so with this technology working so well in this kit and this line, it'd be interesting to see how that may also be tied into future kits in those other lines as well, or whatever future lines we may see later on. But as far as this kit goes, it's super interesting, a lot of fun to play around with. The only thing is that it doesn't really come with a whole lot. Having only just the one kind of weapon of the dagger is really kind of all that you have as far as any sort of accessories for this. Obviously, it's wide open to accessories using the MSG option parts, option weapons. You could also use stuff from the Megami Device line, from the Sosai Shoujo Teian line, from the frame arms girl, Hexagear. It's all cross-compatible, so I mean there's certainly plenty of options that you have. As far as just what's in the box, it would have been nice for maybe 1 or 2 added things to be added in there as far as accessories, and if one of those was also a stand, also would have been cool. As well. So that's kind of the only thing that I could really say negative about it. As far as the kit goes itself, it's amazing. It's very, very cool. So if this is an aesthetic that you guys are into, that you think you might want to try out, I can definitely highly recommend it to you guys. If not this one, maybe you prefer the look, maybe prefer the design of one of the future kits that are going to be coming out up next in the line, and so maybe you want to wait for that. But assuming that they're all going to be based around the same kind of main design, main technology there for the body itself, I think that they're all going to be pretty fantastic kits. So definitely check them out, guys, if you're interested. If you do want to check out the kits for yourself, there will be a link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. You can check out these kits as well as everything else from Kotobukiya there on the website. Check out the USA Gundam Store. I'm looking forward to hearing what your guys' thoughts are on the kit in the comment section as well. And while you're here, make sure you're subscribed. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you so much. Till next time, hope you all have a great day. See y'all later. Bye-bye.